Welcome to another weekend Q&A. I did promise you guys I'd be doing these as often as possible on the weekends, and this is this weekend's Q&A where I'm going to be answering your questions about anything Dragon Ball related. And with this Q&A, we're going to go to Twitter. So like I said right here on the screen, recording the weekend Q&A, hit me with them questions. Obviously, we're going to do first come, first serve if possible, but Twitter's algorithm is weird because it doesn't really post things first come, first serve. So the only thing I can do is just answer the questions as they come in based on how Twitter organizes them. So if you ask me a question, I did not answer it, my apologies on that. I'm just gonna go through, top to bottom. Here we go. First question from Mango Bango, who actually asked two questions about Dragon Ball. First, let me go ahead and answer these questions. Normally, I would only do one per person, but I like Mango. So he says, Vegito and Gogeta are equally matched or relatively matched, and do we consider the new statement retconning the time limit for Vegito? What he's referring to is the statement that was made a couple days ago, actually. I did the video yesterday, I believe, about how Vegito and Gogeta are the same as far as trump cards go. I don't think that has anything to do with the time limit retcon. I think the time limit retcon already happened, a year and a half ago, or was it a year? It was about 2 years ago, actually, now, that the Vegito episode aired. It was November of 2016. So that's when the retcon happened. He goes on to ask, if Gohan didn't care about training after a tournament of power and the messages it served, would that be bad for Gohan's character development? I think they have blown it when it comes to Gohan in Super. I think that they kept changing their minds about where they wanted Gohan's direction to go. I think some of that has to do with Toriyama's very simple outline and the fact that the writers working on the show were all kind of doing their own thing and not really together. That's why I said in my video that I put out months ago about ways to improve Super, you've got to have a showrunner who is constantly in contact with Toriyama to make sure things come out smoothly. That to me was the biggest problem with Dragon Ball Super, is that you had too many cooks in the kitchen. So that to me created a problem with Gohan. I feel like at this point, with how important the Tournament of Power was and what happened, yes, I think Gohan should at least try to train when he can. Connoisseur says, best Dragon Ball waifu, it's got to be 21. Videl would be my choice. Barack Obama, would you rather have two small penises and one large testicle, or one testicle and penis both the same size? Please answer. I think I would rather have one testicle and one penis. That way I can call myself Tomahawk, unironically. Okay, Ken Zyro. Moving on here. Now, this one I actually already answered, kind of. He says, what do you think about IGN ranking DBS Broly 8.5 for not mentioning Kale? I didn't watch the IGN review of the Broly movie, but if they're, again, I can't judge it, but if Keto0920 is correct and their actual reasoning for giving it 8.5 is because they didn't mention Kale, as opposed to giving it a higher rating or whatever. Because 8.5 sounds like that's what the movie probably should get, maybe 8. I haven't seen the movie yet as of this recording. I'll see it next week. But if that's the reason for them not mentioning Kale, that's a pretty stupid reason to criticize a movie, if you ask me. It's pretty dumb. Bees Need Saving says, when are you going to watch JoJo? Actually, sooner than you think, and I might do a video on it. Espion the Charmeleon, that's pretty funny, says, has anyone ever told you this? So what if Toriyama didn't write the DBZ movies? There are plenty of Star Wars stories now written by George Lucas and they're canon. Well, Toriyama, no, nobody's ever told me that, because that doesn't make any sense. I don't know. Alright, LOS39J, or 93J says, so has Future Trunks already had the threesomes with the two Mize in the other timeline? Well, he can't, because remember, there's another Trunks there. Maybe they're having some wacky orgy where they trade Mize, even though the two Mize are going to look exactly the same and behave the same. Whatever. Y'all are dirty tonight, man. I'm recording this Friday night. It'll be up probably Saturday afternoon, Saturday morning. Kaustub Auxi Carrie. If I messed up your name, I'm really sorry about that. Since some movie characters were rewritten by Toriyama, could we possibly see the return of Cooler, Bojack, and the other probably movie characters? I've been asked this question about 10,000 times, and I'm going to answer it exactly the same way as I've always answered it. Yes, anything is possible. I can't sit here with a crystal ball and say, Toriyama's going to retcon this, and this, because I have no idea. But, can he do whatever he wants? Yeah, he can do whatever the hell he wants, it seems, and nobody's going to question him. So, That is the thing. Now, I have a video coming up with Real to Real that I think y'all are really going to enjoy, talking about how they can write Cooler into the Dragon Ball Super canon, or continuity, whatever you want to call it, and how to bring him in, sort of like rebooting him, like they did with Broly. So I'm going to be putting that out probably next week. I think I'll put that video out. It was a really fun discussion. And I also want to do a community follow-up with y'all to see what ideas you guys might have about how to reboot Cooler. Because it could be done easily, but it could also be done like really well. Nick says, watching your channel has inspired me to start working on my YouTube channel. Good. Definitely go for it. And although I already know what content I want to focus on, can you give me some advice on the technical aspects of YouTube, what programs you use for editing, what's considered copyrighted material, etc.? Well, that's way too long of a question for me to answer on this Q&A, but what I will tell you is this. Number one, I used to use Movie Maker when I first started, and I know it's garbage. Now I have a program called Movavi. Advanced edits that I have to do, I send over to MJX TV or Frozen Particle. So I have a team of editors to help me on advanced edits, which obviously you can build that up as you go through. Or you can just hire Particle now. He is open for commission. So just hit him up if you need an editor. As far as copyrighted material goes, anything that you don't own is copyrighted material. But there are fair use laws. You might want to look into what the laws are in your country. But remember, no matter where you live, you have to follow fair use laws of the United States. What I recommend you do, subscribe to Roberto Blake and Tim Schmoyer, video creators, and watch all their stuff. That's the best way to get all the technical resources of YouTube. And that goes for anybody out there. You gotta subscribe to those guys and watch their stuff. You will learn a lot. All right, so Pan Nerdia says, with all the recent live-action announcements, Pokemon, Cowboy Bebop, Attack on Titan, Hollywood version, do you think there's a chance they'll do a Dragon Ball Universe live-action within the next 5 to 10 years, or do you think they'll just stick to animated movies? Redact Dragon Ball Evolution. I think they're going to stick to animated movies, but I do think at some point, 5 years, I don't know, 10 years does seem a little bit more likely. I think at some point we will get another live-action Dragon Ball movie. I hate to say that because I don't want one, but I think we will get one eventually because Hollywood and Toei want to milk this thing as much as they can. So yes, I do think that I think we'll get one eventually. I hope not. I hope I'm wrong on that. I really do, but I think we'll get one eventually. Gary Gill says, if we get another season of Dragon Ball Super sometime after Broly, when would you think it would be released? I originally thought April. I thought April, and now I'm thinking more so towards July or October. We're gonna get our answers probably at Jump Festa. If they don't announce the return of Super then it's definitely gonna be later in 2019 or maybe even 2020 at the latest. But I don't know. It's one of those things where I think now it'll be probably middle to end of next year, but who knows? I mean, who really knows? They may be under production. I mean, I've heard things, but I can't get confirmation until we have the announcement. Matt Mills, what's the most annoying Dragon Ball related question that triggers you? It's not so much the questions, it's more so people being pricks about it. Like, people think they know everything, and then they'll sit there and they'll debate with you on obvious facts. You know, not even like debates on like power scaling or debates on, you know, which arc is better. That's obviously something you can do, you know, whenever. More so debates on, or people fighting with you on actual facts, like, you know, making up headcanon, things like that aren't in the series to justify their argument, using non sequiturs. That's really what irritates me more than just a question. You know what I mean? It does bug me sometimes though when I get questions over and over again that are the same question. Not because I'm mad at the person asking the question, but more so I'm mad that the community still hasn't figured it out yet. You know, I'm doing the best that I can to get the information out there, but not everybody watches everything, and I understand. So sometimes I'll repeat myself in these Q&As, you know, or on streams or whatever. I sometimes do that, and that's because not everybody's seen everything. So, Alex, non-Dragon Ball question. How do you think the Creed franchise will handle Rocky's life after the events of Creed 2? I don't want there to be, without going to spoilers, I don't want any more Rocky Creed movies. I loved Creed 2. I thought it was fantastic. That should be the end. The story's been told. The arc is finished. Rocky had his arc. Donnie had his arc. Even Victor and Ivan Drago had their arc. I think that at this point, don't make any more unless you're talking about like way later on when Michael B. Jordan's older. He can play the trainer. But right now, I think it's perfect the way it ended because I have no idea what they could do with it. What are some ways in which the series can introduce Oob into the series without creating much, if not any, plot holes? You do it exactly like how it was in the manga. That's how. Will you ever start covering more anime other than Dragon Ball? I mean, I just did a My Hero Academia video days ago. So yeah, and I covered One Punch Man, so those will be covered. Um, I4 Eva Grind. Do you think people forget Fuse characters are still two people? I hope not. I, I, I really hope not. Um, Me, the grade 18. What do you think about NBA right now? Can you do some videos in the NBA, please? I don't really have enough knowledge on the NBA. I'm more of a casual fan. I am really curious about how Toronto's doing, and I'm surprised that the Spurs fell apart like this. But should I be? I'll be honest, NBA has been very stale for me because of the Golden State Warriors being so dominant. The drama's kind of not there, but I'm hoping for something to happen this year to change that. But the West is so stacked right now that like I'm just waiting until maybe after the All-Star break to really get into it. I keep up with it online, but I can't watch all the games. Hal Fonzito. Android 21 Bulma or Android 18. If I have to pick, are you doing FMK? I'm going to pick Bulma. Edgar says, how do you want Goku to receive the blue gi? Oh, that's a great question. I want like somebody like Chi-Chi to stitch it for him. That would be cool. Or maybe he goes over to Universe 6 and they give it to him at some point in the future. They could do something like that. Maybe Chi-Lai makes it for him. They could retcon that in a cool way. Assassin says, who's your favorite character so far in My Hero Academia? For me, it's easily the Frog Girl. I actually forget her name because I have to get back into it. I love that character, and I love All Might. R. Tellings, when will you finally accept me as your son? Right now, brother, you're my son, but I'm not going to claim you. Favorite food? Ooh, most people will probably say sushi for me, but I love chicken teriyaki. I love Spanish food like crazy. Bistec empanizado. There's so much. Lobster is another one of my favorite. I love lobster. I love steak. I like a lot of food, bro. Aaron Ruiz, how would you make an OVA or movie about Hit? Over the top or completely different Dragon Ball, less fighting, more character development, complex story? I would make it very different. I would make an OVA about Hit a lot more character focused on him. I would make it more like Rurouni Kenshin, where it's his story, he's the centerpiece. And kind of do something like that, or maybe do like a V for Vendetta thing where he's more of a mystery character throughout the entire thing and we really don't know much about him. They don't have to give away all of Hit's backstory, even though I do want to know more about Hit. I'm sure we all do. I would definitely make it, I would do less fighting, but I'd make the fighting more creative with time skips and things like that, but I would definitely make it different from Dragon Ball. Definitely less comedy because Hit is a very serious character. Will you do a video about the Ginyu Force anytime soon? I actually was thinking about making one, but it might be pretty short, outlining their powers and things like that. It's not currently in the plans to make one anytime in the next couple of months, but I thought about it, so maybe. You have to give me more information as far as what you want to know. So Danny, which is also my name, Broly Hype says, do you think we'll ever see Goku switch to his End of Z blue gi and stick to it? Or do you think they'll risk it because the orange gi is too iconic? Great question. I do think at some point if they go past the End of Z, yes, Goku should wear the blue gi, even though I think that he might go back to wearing the orange gi, eventually. Plus the idea of Goku wearing blue and Vegeta wearing black, like the End of Z colors, I think would be pretty cool. It'd be a different kind of look for them for going forward. I actually miss the Resurrection F gi a lot too. But I think the way things are now, they'll probably keep Goku in the orange. What do you do in your free time? Covering many topics and creating content must take up a huge amount of your time. Yeah, it does. It really, really does. I talk to friends. I play video games from time to time. What else do I do for fun? I used to read, but I haven't read a lot lately. I do work a lot, actually. I got a lot of stuff to do. I got 2 channels plus the podcast and other things. So talking to my friends, it seems to be the thing that I do the most nowadays. Father? Yes, son. Sapphire, do you think sometime in the near future Dragon Ball fans will get fatigued from the franchise again? They took a year off of Super, and that was smart. So if they do this thing where Dragon Ball comes back in 3-year increments and then take a year off for a movie, I think I'd be alright with that. I think they could prevent burnout by doing that. But who knows? Eventually, yeah, people get tired of it. If you could rewrite an arc from Dragon Ball Super, what would it be? Definitely the Trunks arc. I think the Trunks arc had the most potential, but it wound up just being a constant back and forth trip, and there wasn't much of a story there. I think the idea of an evil Goku that's being Goku's body possessed by a rogue god is a great idea. I think the execution of it was fun when it was around, but I thought the ending was horrible, and they could have done so much more with that arc. Like you can like that arc if you want. I mean, it was fun watching it, but it was wasted potential completely. And if any celeb could make a cameo in the new series, who would you choose? Like as a voice actor? I guess you mean for the dub. Maybe The Rock, but he's way too expensive. Little known fact, there was discussions, and I'm not gonna get into this too deeply because a lot of it is not gonna. I'm not gonna get into it too deeply, but there was a discussion about bringing in a celebrity to voice in Dragon Ball Super Broly. I'm not gonna say who. I'm not allowed to, but there was discussions of bringing one in, and a big one. I mean, a big one. But it wound up not happening, which is, it's fine. Can I beat your ass without the B? Oh, sure. How do you think they can bring back PyCon? Well, I think with PyCon, I think it'd be easy because he's from the South Galaxy, if I remember correctly, and they could just do something where, something happens to the South Galaxy or the South Quadrant and he has to step in and then maybe Goku can meet him. It wouldn't even be that hard at this point. Or they could totally retcon him to maybe being one of Beerus's old foes or something. I mean, there's a lot of stuff they could do. That's actually not a terrible idea for a video. Maybe I'll get with Real to Real and do that, because that's actually not a bad idea at all for a topic. I want to think about that. What Dragon Ball spinoff would you love to watch? I've talked about this before as well. Hit, Pride Troopers, Trio the Dangers, or even a Ribrianne show. If they did like a wacky Sailor Moon-esque, magical girl Ribrianne series, I'll watch it, dude. I will watch it, especially if it has that Toriyama humor. Here's a question that isn't about Dragon Ball. Have you ever seen Tengen Toppa Gurren Lagann? And will you cover if you decide to watch it? I have no idea what it is, so I have to see it to know. Would you be willing to accept the goddess Ribrianne as your one true Lord and Savior? Not right now, but I do love that picture. All right, this will be the last question here. I don't want it to go too long here. How do you feel about the current state of DB? What would you want them to work on, and where do you go from here? I want them to fix the production of Dragon Ball Super. I want them to fix the writing. I talked about it earlier. Get somebody to be a middleman between Toriyama and the writers, an actual showrunner who can make things happen and not contradict the Toriyama story, but also flesh the story out to have it make sense. That's what Dragon Ball Super needed more than anything. Toriyama was writing these really simple, like, movie arcs, because everything in Dragon Ball Super is very short. Universe 6, Trunks, Tournament of Power, it was just a big tournament. You have 2 tournaments, then you have movie retellings, then you have the Trunks arc, which came off more like a movie than an actual arc, because it was just like back and forth fighting. You could cut that down to a movie and have it work. I think Toriyama needs to go back to writing the old school arcs where you have twists and turns, like the Cell Saga. Frieza shows up. Then Trunks kills him, says, hey, we got a bigger threat coming. Then they fight androids. Oh, wait a minute, these aren't the right androids. Then they fight other androids. There's a third android, 16. Then Cell shows up. Then like the way that things would flesh out, you know what I mean? Or Frieza Saga, they go to space, you got Frieza, Dodoria, Zarbon, the Vegeta rebels, Dodoria ends up getting killed, then Zarbon ends up getting killed, Frieza's freaking out, calls in the Ginyu Force, Goku shows up, like that kind of stuff, an actual story that goes up and down, up and down. Now, that's what I think Dragon Ball needs. I think it needs it, and it's been missing it. Anyways, that's it. Thanks so much for watching the Q&A. I hope you have a great rest of your day. I love you guys, and remember to take care of yourself and each other.